Hey everybody, my name is Shakisha Glass and this is Talk Feel Heal, a space for Baltimore to talk about the things that we go through and find ways to get through. This is brought to you by the 988 helpline in Central Maryland. Today we're talking to a group of individuals whose whole job is to help us heal. These are the 988 specialists. Many people don't know that 988 is a free confidential helpline and anyone in Baltimore can call if you need immediate emotional support. And their job is literally to help. So I'm excited to introduce today's guests. Help me welcome today Kaylin Mason, Pamela Curtis, and Quinita Garrett from Baltimore Crisis Response. So thank you ladies for joining me.
Thank you for having
So I'm gonna have you kind of introduce yourself. Tell me what made you join or become a 988 specialist and anything you might want to intro share. Feel free to anybody jump
first?
in.
Hi, my name is Kaylin. I've been with the Baltimore Crisis since 2023.
Okay.
I got this job, or I applied for this job, right after I had my daughter. Being in mental health is something that's always been pretty my focus since I was a kid. Yeah. So before I got here, I was at Johns Hopkins for case management.
Okay.
I saw this and I was like, interesting.
Okay.
I love crisis, and I realized I love crisis.
That's an interesting statement.
I do. I really do. It is interesting. Still dealing with people in crisis is something that I enjoy. So that's why I kind of.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that it's something you're passionate about.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's not just like, oh, it was a job they was hiring and I needed the extra cash on the side.
When I was waiting for
people's lives are in your hands.
Yeah, no. When I was waiting for Quinita to get back to me on if I got it or not, I was definitely like, I hope I got it. I hope she liked me. I hope this was a great interview.
Okay, I can see. I would have gave you the job too. I don't know what it entails, but I'm excited to learn about that from you today. So. Pamela, tell me, girl, what happened? Should I call you Pam?
Pam.
Okay, Pam.
Pam Curtis.
Okay, Pam Curtis.
So, first of all, good day, kings and queens. My name is Pam Curtis, and I am a 988 specialist.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been with Baltimore Crisis Response since 2024.
Okay.
And it's a pleasure. And I first got into this because I have been in the medical field, the educational field, but also community field as well. So I always have seen people in crisis, and then I also was a radio host and producer.
Oh, okay.
As well for over 8 or 9 years. So I'll be honest, I got into it because it was not the norm that were in crisis. It was the politicians coming to me for prayer, for services, for advice. It was the pastors. It was different leaders of organizations that needed it.
Yeah.
And growing up in Baltimore City, and from Green Mountain Eager, Park Heights, Sandtown, Harford Road. And I just also have my own story of foster care, aging out of foster care, going through, divorce. And I felt that I had to be my own bridge at times, my own umbrella, my own help. And I knew what it took for me to get through, had to pour into me.
Yeah.
So that's why I joined this wonderful organization because for me, it's me telling people, look inward. Look inward. It's in you. I had to look inward.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm excited.
I love that.
I really am.
Thank you so much for sharing that, and thank you both for the work you do and making that commitment, and deciding I recognize this need for this thing, and I'm gonna do my part. I recognize my gift, and I'm gonna do my part to do the thing. Because sometimes people are like, "That's other people's problems. I got my own problems." I'm serious. Like in today's world, most people are like, "I got my own issues," and you don't fault people for that because sometimes people need to mind their own business. But I'm thankful for your people like you who are willing to be like, you know what, let me lock in and help out. So okay,
thank you.
Yeah, I do my little one too.
Okay.
I just try to get the people heard. That's my goal. My goal is to get the people heard.
Come on,
Don't
line.
listen to me. Just talk. But thank you both. And Quinita, I'm gonna offer you the same thing, the same question.
Absolutely. My name is Quinita Garrett. I oversee our call center now, but I did start off as a 988 specialist in
Okay.
2014 at
Okay.
BCRI.
Mm.
During that time, I was at a
You said it
crisis.
what year?
2014. I know.
That's
I
11.
there, yes.
Ooh,
Okay.
my
Yes.
God.
And I loved every moment of it.
Okay.
Yes. But I started off as like, it was during the transition stage
Okay.
of my life. And my sister actually worked at Baltimore Crisis Response. And I was really looking for
Ah.
something meaningful, just a way to give back. And she said,
Mhm.
hey, we have this it was Lifeline back then. We had this
Yeah.
Lifeline. We take calls. We help people in crisis.
Okay.
I
Okay.
like to listen. So I said, hey, let me try it. I was hired and I haven't looked back since.
So it was called Lifeline,
It was a
or
National Suicide Prevention Lifeline.
ah,
Yeah.
and now it is called.
It's a 988 line.
That sounds so
Yeah.
much better.
It does.
Like
It's a
it
three-digit
sounds
number.
so much less pressure.
Yes.
Like
And it's
Ooh.
easy to dial, easy to
it's
remember,
so
easy
much.
to dial.
Yeah,
Yes.
I love that.
Mhm.
So yeah, thank you again. Thank you again. So some people are surprised to hear that 988 is not just for crisis. What else have y'all helped with? I heard you mention politicians, and I like to as the strong friend. That's me. Oftentimes it's the strong people that are low key calling the hotline to get help when they are outwardly helping everyone else. So in addition to pastors and leaders, what are some of the calls? Not what are some of the calls? Strictly confidential.
Yes.
But what are some of the types of things that you help outside of major crisis?
Oh, I would say this. Sometimes people are nervous. I have even had lawyers going to take the bar, and
Mm,
they're in their car and saying, "Hey, can you just say something to me to calm me down? Because I have anxiety."
wow.
And then often they would say, "Hey, so are you a faith believer?" And they'll say faith because they don't want to
Yeah,
say,
yeah, yeah.
what kind of faith. Are
Mm-hmm.
you a faith believer? I said, "Yeah." Like, okay, well, can you say something faith-based to me? And then sometimes I'll just say, "You already passed
Mm,
because you got this far."
yeah,
You're like, "You know what? You're right."
yeah,
And then I'll say, "Guess what? Your tomorrow is already taken care of.
yeah,
So breathe,
yeah,
breathe with me. Forget counting down from 10, but okay, but let's count down from
yeah,
20
yeah.
and own this moment. Fix your crown, straighten your posture, stick out your chest and own this moment
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because you are living in your book. Now turn that page and now write the next chapter to say, this is how I overcame. I
Yeah,
won.
yeah,
It's just, and honestly, it's not finesse.
yeah.
It's not stroking their ego. It's not trying to manipulate them into thinking. No, it's reminding
It's
them
reminding
you
them.
already own it.
Yeah, yep, yep.
Yeah.
I love that. And that's something that's already true. And oftentimes with anxiety, and I'm a believer as well. And I believe sometimes anxiety is believing the lies. It's believing all the
Ooh.
things that the world has told you. Well, what if I'm not good enough? What if this doesn't work? What if? Now I'm all anxious. But so you need someone to remind you of the truth. You got this. It's already yours. Claim it. So it's that's what it sounds like, that call could feel like to somebody, like when you just need that reassurance. So now I know when my next job interview, Pam, if you get a call from me and you recognize my voice, just claim it for me, okay? Just
Amen.
thank
That's right.
you. So you've
I do
been
like that.
11 years plus in the game now.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Come on, OG.
how do I know I'm getting a professional when I call 988?
I think as a part of their training, they're all trained to be active listeners.
Okay, I
To
like
be
that. Active.
empathetic, yes,
Mm-hmm.
to be non-judgmental. Someone can call with anything, even if it's something we don't agree with, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that's going out of our ear, and we're listening to what's actually going on.
Mm-hmm.
So they're trained to be in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
They're also trained to say, like Helen said, "Hey, we may not have this resource, but I'm still going to empathize what you're
Yes.
going through, and I'm going
Yeah.
to help you through this moment. I'm going to provide you support, whether or not I can provide you with this resource or not." They're trained to de-escalate. So you
Okay.
can call suicidal, you can call in crisis. We're going
Yeah.
to work through this together.
Yeah.
So it's a team effort at that point. Like she said, they have very extensive training. Everybody is trained the same way.
Yeah.
So I think a person will know when they call that they are going to receive support by their responses, their
Got
empathy,
you.
their
Love that.
willingness to listen, their
Yeah.
willingness to sometimes you have to say, hey, what do you need from me? Do you just want me to listen? Do you want advice?
Mm.
like, let
Come
me know
on,
what you
lady.
need. So,
Come
and
on,
they're
boss
trained to do
lady.
That's
that.
good.
Yeah.
That's really, really good. And I have to exercise that in my own life with my friends because I'd be like, look, am I listening right now? I'm just, okay, go ahead then. Because sometimes you be like, oh, you want to do something or you want to do more. So I can only imagine in a scenario like this. And especially when you can't do more,
Mm-hmm.
but you might want to, and all you can do is listen. So you mentioned Caitlin earlier that sometimes people call in and they're kind of hot, like off the press, like they right there. And your job is to take them from a 10 and probably want to bring them around somewhere below a 5. I'm sure. I don't know what the target number is. But what could that look like? What could that look like taking somebody from a 10 to a 2? Like, I know you guys have done it. What's that like?
Sometimes if they call and just in a irate state,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes literally I have said, and you know, sometimes I'm like, oh my God,
Mm-hmm.
oh my God,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you, and then sometimes, just like she said, sometimes I'll sit and then I'll say, and you know what? I understand.
Ooh.
I understand. I will remain on this phone and be patient with you
Mm-hmm.
because someone wasn't patient with me.
Mm-hmm.
I understand. Go ahead and cry.
Yeah.
Cry, take your time. If you want to scream, yell, I will not drop this call. It's okay.
Yeah.
We all need someone, and this is your moment. And if it's a lot of noise in the background, then I would say, and you know what? This is your moment.
Yeah.
Try to go to another room because you are deserving to be heard. Because
Ooh.
this is you reaching out for help,
Yeah.
and I am participating to be that bridge to get you over to the
Yeah.
next solution. So there's no rush.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm mindful of my tone. And I'll say, there's no rush. I'm here. And then you'll hear it. I'm like, thank you. And then you'll hear him cry and say, thank you, because I
Mm-hmm.
feel like
Mm-hmm.
I'm not being heard.
Mm.
And then sometimes I have to catch myself to make sure that I'm not getting emotional.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I'll let them know that I'm getting emotional and
Mm-hmm.
say, and you know what? You just reminded me why I selected this career.
Mm.
Thank you for being open and honest with me. Because here at 988, we are patient, we don't judge.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And again, you can say whatever you want to.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be blast.
Yeah.
Especially in this society with
Yeah.
cameras everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
everyone is recording. I
Mm-hmm.
said, you are safe.
Yeah.
You don't even have to give me your real name.
Yeah.
You're like, okay. And then a person that probably was planning to give you a fake name say,
Yeah.
you know what? I was gonna tell you my name is Kiana, but it's actually Kenya. I'm like,
Mm.
okay, well, Queen Kenya, how are
Mm-hmm.
you feeling
Mm-hmm.
today?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then I'll shift,
Yeah.
in a conversation like, uh, Kiana. I
Yeah.
said, whoa, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a real name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that's not a real
Yeah.
name.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'll say, well, Queen Kiana, where are you at right now?
Yeah.
And they'll say, okay, well, I'm home or I'm in my car or I'm
Yeah.
in a bathroom at a school because students call us
Mm.
from college or
Yeah.
whatever. And then I'll say, yeah, physically, but where are you mentally? I'm just all over the place. And
Mm.
sometimes I'll even say, well, guess what? Thank God that I know how to bounce all over the place too.
Mm.
Can we take this journey together?
Mm.
And they'll say, yes. And then they will just run down everything that they are experiencing for that moment, that day, that week. And I'll say, it's okay. Thank God that I just know how to multitask, Queen.
Yeah.
She's like, well, thank you, okay.
Yeah.
And it's just understanding and being patient and getting out of your own way
Yeah.
and really connecting.
Yeah. I love all of that. I think it sounds to me like you're making the person feel like they're not alone. And oftentimes when a person calls, I'm pretty sure, even in the midst of chaos, even with the sounds, even at the school, they still probably feel in isolation. They feel like if I'm calling you, it's
Yeah.
clearly no one closer to me that I couldn't call.
Ooh.
So the moment that you build that rapport and you see them as a human and you put yourself with, well, let's take this trip together. Where are we going? Let's bounce around. That is letting me feel like, okay, you can't see me, but I feel seen. So
Right.
that's really, really good. That's really, really good. So, what happens if, and it sounds like you guys kind of touched on it, you ladies. I like saying ladies when it's ladies. You ladies kind of
Okay.
touched on it. And I also open this up to Quinita because now I know you got all these years in the game.
Thank you.
I'm like, let's hear it. So, and they kind of touched on what happens if a person calls but they don't know what to say. How do you help them?
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm here, but
Mhm.
I'm stuck here now.
You just validate it.
Mm.
They do a lot of validating.
Mm.
And it's okay not to know why you're calling. It's okay for us to give you prompts.
Yeah.
And we'll let them
Yeah.
know it's okay.
So you have like conversation starters.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Did something happen today?
That's a good one.
Did you have a bad night? Is there anything that you feel that you picked up that phone to call us for?
Mhm.
Just tell us.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
will say, I really don't know. And that's still fine. We're just going to validate your feelings and we're going to let you know that we're still here to listen.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. And does it ever get to a point, and if it does, how have you navigated where maybe there's like a stall in the conversation? Maybe you've asked these probing questions or these conversation starters, but they haven't hung up. They still on the line.
Mm-hmm.
How do you navigate that? So and I'm just trying to say things I want the introverts to hear. The people who are like, I don't know how to do, I want people to know like, hey, I can get, even if I'm not a people person, even if I'm not a talker. What if I call for somebody else and just leave the phone and walk out the room? What will happen? Because if you call 911, the police are coming. If you don't say nothing, 9 times out of 10, they're going to so what happens if the person just doesn't say anything but stays on the phone?
Mm-hmm.
To answer your question about the silence, it's okay to have silence.
Yeah.
I've learned that in therapy, and then just being a specialist at 98, it's okay for silence. It's nothing wrong with silence. Now, how much silence? Sometimes that can differ between, okay, well, do you maybe want to call back? Would you like for us to follow up with you at another time whenever, you may be ready to talk, or just to check in and see how you're doing? That's something else that we can offer. But silence is okay. Because it also gives the other person time to think about what it is that they want to say, what they want to talk about. So it's not really a problem with silence. I just think it's the type of silence. If you're not having a productive silence, then okay, do you want us to call you back?
I like that. Productive silence. I like that.
Yes.
To be honest, silence is good because people are processing.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are patient while they process. We'll be patient while you process.
Yeah.
I would say that again. We are patient while you process.
I like that.
Because sometimes people are processing multiple areas in their life, and just at that one moment they are feeling embarrassed because they have to reach out to someone. Their guard is down in a way, because some people take vulnerability as a weakness.
Yeah.
But to us, that's your strength.
It's so strong. It's so powerful.
That is your strength.
Yeah.
Like, you are reaching out for and needing help. That's beautiful to us.
Yeah.
That's strength to us. So for us, it's more so of being silent with you. And then I know that I have even said, you know what, even if you are just processing at the moment, just press a button.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, please press a button. Please press a button.
Please press a
And
button.
and then sometimes like beep 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 beep, like so I'm like, okay, here we go,
We processing. We
I'm like,
processing.
okay, here the goosebumps, here we
Yeah.
go. And honestly, just again allowing them to process. That's why patience and being an active listener is important.
Yeah.
Being just, you just want someone to listen to you and not cut you off when you speaking. Because I had a bad habit of that growing up, because I had a speech impediment, and I still do. To believe it or not, like I was poured out of even up until high school.
Wow.
And actually 2 years after I graduated, I was still going to a speech therapist at Kennedy Krieger, at Johns Hopkins. But I just remember just praying one day and just God saying, when you walk in what I told you that you were going to do, they won't even hear your stutter.
Mm-mm.
So honestly, this is confirmation
Yeah.
because I don't hear my
I
stutter.
ain't heard it yet.
That's why I
Mm.
tell Quinita. I know I have said this to her, and she's like, "Oh, here you go." But I'm like, Quinita, you gotta give yourself more credit in that
Yeah.
because I don't hear my stutter. Now that part I don't say to her, but I'm saying to you, I don't
That's
hear
the
my
why.
stutter
Yeah.
because to be around people naturally that's helping you and knowing that these people may be in your book one day
Mm-hmm.
because they were along this journey with
Mm-hmm.
you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hear my stutter.
Yeah.
So I have to give someone else the opportunity to hear them without their stutter.
Yeah.
Just being
Yeah.
patient with them.
Yeah. And I feel like the stutter is like insert your thing here, like whatever that is. And I love how because and it's not like this moment I'm gonna give to you the way you gave to Quinita, you're in your purpose, but the people that you're serving are affirming it when they call, and you can show up in a way that you can't show up or hadn't been able to show up, prior to you being in this place. Which really
Girl.
leads me to my next question. Go ahead, feel it. Go ahead, feel the feels.
Everybody tip.
How does it feel when you know you've helped someone? And what is the most memorable thing someone said to you after you've helped them?
When someone says like Tina, she'll usually like tell me like, Caitlin, this person said this about you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's shocking to me every time. I'm shocked.
Oh,
Don't matter.
hey, this person helped me
Yes.
out. Okay.
It's shocked. I'm shocked every time, and I take a picture of it. I'm like, mommy, look.
Yes.
But
I love it.
But no, the most memorable thing that someone has said was that I saved their life. And whenever I've had that a couple times, and I always tell the same story, or I tell them to look at the same story, which is Job.
Yeah.
It's my favorite book in the Bible. I love Job. I love me some Job. I love his story.
Mm-hmm.
So they always kind of go hand in hand when someone says like I've saved their life, and I think I've had that like twice, once, twice, maybe three, maybe three.
Okay.
But yeah, those two go hand in hand.
Saving lives. Caitlin,
Yeah.
saving lives.
I be like, girl, me?
Yes,
you.
Yes, you. All right, and Pam.
I actually received the email from my manager, Miss Renee Newman,
Mm-hmm.
and 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 I remember this because it was recent, and a man had said, "Listen, I was raised to be a racist," and it's on a card. He said I was raised to be a racist, and he even used the N word.
Wow.
And then he said, "But I was about to jump off the bridge. I'm near the harbor. I would say just near. I'm near the harbor." And then he said, "But you know what?" He said, "Every time that I went to kill myself, a black person helped me." He said, "But then I've been calling for a while." He said, "But I just want to say I thank you for rewriting my future,
Mm.
and I'm sorry for using that word." And then the following day, he called and asked for me. I was like, "Oh goodness, he's gonna call me N word again." But no, but he said was every time that I've been in rehab, I was put in a rehab because of you guys, helping me and telling me to go in. He said, "But guess what?" He said, I just want to say that I actually signed up myself for the first time. So I didn't want you to think that I killed myself if you called and you didn't get an answer." He said, "Because I think I'm going for 45 days, and then I'll, I'll be out, in this county just in case, you wanted, to check on me." He said, he said again, he said again, "My father was raised and born in the 40s and 50s, and that's how he raised me." He said, "But you know what? A didn't save me, but rather an African American black woman helped me to live on." And I just was like, "Hey, guess what? You can do it, but definitely chill."
Chill on the N word.
Yeah. Chill on that word. But yeah. So So for me, so just like you said, Job, for me, I often call myself an Esther because Esther had to go before the king and then rewrite for her people. So that even if I had to rewrite for my people to actually show this one gentleman, no, look who saved you.
Yeah.
Look who saved you. Watch your mouth. Look who saved you.
Yeah. That's really good. Thank you, Pam. Let me go read all these books. Okay, Quinita. So same question. I know you got some years in. But yeah, like what's your most memorable thing someone said to you after you've helped them?
So I've taken a lot of calls. I've also been thanked quite a few times, but the one that stands out, and I always tell people this one, this was 9 years ago. It was a caller they called because they were in dental pain. Um, they had went to the dentist. And I'm sorry, not the dentist. They went to the emergency room. They couldn't do anything. They gave them a ton of numbers, and they called every number on the paper. And they finally got to me.
Wow.
And I had to tell this person, I apologize. I can't do anything about the dental pain. I can try to give you resources. I know this is really painful for you. And they were upset. They were yelling, they were cursing. And I just allowed them to yell. I allowed them to curse because I can empathize. I've had dental pain, so I know how
Same.
painful it can be. And what I remember at the end of that call, and I remember it being like 45 minutes, is that this person was just like, thank you for sitting with me. Thank you, because I literally feel like I'm about to die. And I don't mean like die like I'm going to kill myself, like die from this pain. And I appreciate you sitting with me in these moments. And I still think about that because I remember you mentioned earlier, like, what type of calls do you get? Every call is not your typical type of crisis. Like, we get all sorts of outside of the box calls. And this person called because they felt like they were at their last resort and they just needed somebody, even if it wasn't related to what they were going through, just to hear them, hear their frustrations with just not being able to get dental work. So that call, I always remember that call and it always sits with me. But
I one got a special place in my heart over here because that
I
dental
know. I
work,
got
literally, I really truly appreciate you guys, you ladies, just sharing this because it helps to know that these are humans with experience, humans with training, humans with love and compassion and understanding that is going to answer this call. So as we wrap up this interview or this moment, this episode, I would like to kind of also gonna give you ladies a chance to take a look at the camera, and if there's someone who's nervous about calling 988, and you had one sentence to say to them, one thing that they could hear, what would you say? What would you give them to kind of motivate them to go ahead and make that call?
I just would say be patient because we will always be patient and because we will always be patient with you
That's good.
because you are important and you are our priority when you call.
Ooh, that's good. Kunita?
I would say call 988. There's nothing that you can say that's wrong. The counselors are there. They're there to support you. They're there to be non-judgmental. Give it a try. You will not regret it.
Yes.
I love it. Thank you, ladies, so much for joining on the podcast today. And just keep doing what you're doing. Please keep doing what you're doing. Please keep doing what you're doing. Thank you.
Fine.
This was fun.
This is fine.
Have goosebumps.
Cut.